you?
Hello, Myrna. I'm having a good day today, full of
Oh,
light and ready to go.
well, good, because you're going to introduce us to light language. And I refer clients to you all the time. I love the work that you do. And a recent client said he has a strong Christian background. And he said, isn't it just like the Pentecostals? They speak in tongues. That light language thing was fine with me. So, but many people have not come across it. And they feel the power of it, at least the clients I've referred to you. But it's a little bit of a mystery what it is, how it works, how it fits into whatever their idea is about religion or spiritual life. And so I'm thrilled that you're offering this introduction. What is light language? And you're going to show us some so people can answer the question, what is this and is it good for me? Should I find out more? So please take us through it.
Okay. So light language itself, I think what we have to do first is try to dissect what language is. So feel free to come in and ask questions. Just interrupt me at any point.
I sure will.
Okay. So what is language? So language is an expression of a reality. Yeah. So it's anything within what any particular reality it is. If you want to express something within that reality, you use a language. A language can be signs, it can be sounds, it can be anything. So really that's what it is, it's an expression of something. So language, as we know it, our third dimensional language, what we're expressing is the reality around us, how we communicate with one another. So what we're communicating to each other is the reality that we live in, right? Like we're doing right now.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is the
Think of it,
dimensions.
you have kids,
Yeah,
and me too. And I think it's like when you teach them, this is a cup, this is a table, this is the door. It's time for bed. You're sharing how to live. So please go ahead.
exactly.
In
And
this
that's
light language, we'll be learning it like that.
exactly. The mechanics are slightly different, but it's the same principle.
Mhm.
Um, so the thing with our third dimensional language is it expresses our reality. Now, obviously, things like English, Spanish, these kind of languages, they have a very limited alphabet. And that alphabet puts a limitation on the language itself. And English as well is a very difficult a very difficult language or a limited language to be able to express some of these greater concepts. And many other languages, like Arabic, for instance, which in my opinion is a light language, and some of the Gaelic tongues, some of these, they have very descriptive words. Some languages, like Hindi, it may have 30 different words for something that in the English language, we just have one.
Mhm.
There's all kinds of descriptive words. So language itself is limiting or it's empowering. And the difference with light language between the languages that we speak is that it's multi-dimensional. It's fully multi-dimensional. Not that our other languages aren't, but it's much more so.
When you say dimensional, you don't mean like it's tall or long or wet or dry. What do you mean by
It can be
dimension?
all of that and more.
Okay.
So where our language is descriptive, light language is more interactive. So
Okay.
I can speak words to you and I can describe certain situations and scenarios, especially let's say something like if I told you a story about something traumatic that I went through, and then your body will have a parasympathetic reaction and you'll
Mhm.
feel an emotion or you'll feel an uncomfortableness. So if I describe something vulgar to you, you may feel an aversion and a churning in the stomach.
Mhm.
So that's the way language can affect us. And light language is like that on a multidimensional level. So it's something that can be directed and actually make changes within the multiple dimensions of realities. So in the
Okay.
energy field, in the body itself, in the unseen world around us, in the dream worlds, I mean, it's infinite, its reach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. This is why clients experience it sometimes powerfully, an energetic feeling that they feel their body is responding, even though the sounds don't make sense,
Yes.
but the body's responding.
Yes. And so many people, when they hear a light language, what they try to do is they try to understand it the same way you would your native tongue. That can be done, but
Mhm.
it's not the point of it. It's
Mhm.
more to be it's experienced. So light language itself is as ancient as the universe and beyond. It's not one language, it's an infinite amount of languages and expressions.
So it's not like learning Sanskrit.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Although you can take a particular light language and learn it that way.
Okay.
Um, but light language itself originates from the very creation of our universe, when the universe was just a central sun and it expanded itself, and Source decided it wanted to know more. So it expanded itself and made other versions of itself in order for it to communicate to. That energy behind that expansion was light language, or light language-ish. And
So when
then
in the beginning of the world, it was spoken to existence, the language it used was light.
well, it's much the same as the Bible says the first was the word, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you can relate this to many other different religions and things as well, and certain texts,
Okay.
and and so each expansion of the universe is a new language, a new language, a new language, until the universe that we see now, with its just vast amount of life, everything has its own form and version of light language. They are used as languages to communicate between species and things. So a lot of the times, off-worlders, like people from other worlds, will communicate in their own versions of light languages. So it's not one language is the first thing to understand. I mean, if I can play with the concept here, there are some species that I speak to that only speak in things like bass tones. So it would be like a like that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Others in clicks and pops and whistles. Um, the breath as well. So as we go into light language, the whole body, even the hands, the mudras begin. This all starts to go, and um, you know, the whole body is involved, and all the different sounds that you can make are involved in these languages.
So the question I have is there a Google Translate? I mean,
There
do I
is,
get
but
on
it's
my phone and say, how do I say this in blue people light language?
yeah, there is. It's an internal thing within your DNA. And as we get into this a little bit further, I'll show you some of this.
Okay.
Um,
So these concepts, there's a lot of big concepts here, off-world species, a universe is teeming with life, all of which have developed their own light language. But then there would be a way that, even though our rational mind doesn't process it like the language we normally speak, our bodies tune into the frequency or something, and we process what the message is.
whatever the intention of that light language is, and whatever collectives are co-creating with us, because when you have any being at all, there are many people out there who will fall into the trap of a singular process or a single-minded way of thinking. Like somebody may say that, well, I have a Native American spirit guide that some psychic has shown me. Therefore, they'll dive all into just psychic Native American expression and believe that Native American is what they are, because of this one interaction. Where in reality, all of our unseen world is interacting with us at any one moment. All of our ancestors, all of our guides, there's billions and billions of beings interacting with us at any one time, and they will funnel that through a singular expression if they need to, or there can be a broader expression, because we can't experience that kind of communication in our tiny brains and rationalize it. Um yeah, I hope that makes
Yeah, I
sense.
think as we are not in your world, where we go back and forth between the seen and the unseen with the, flexibility that you have, the versatility you have, our experience is we have a dream, or suddenly there's a vivid memory and it's reminded us not to go there, or we have this internal impression. And people will say, well, did a voice whisper that in your ear? And you'll say, no, I just knew. I just knew this was the job for me. I just knew not to get in the car, whatever it is. And so I think there's some mechanism of communication you're sharing with us. We don't even experience the front end of hearing the language itself, but actually just in the experience of the knowing.
What's in your unseen world, and what's in my unseen world, and what's in the unseen world of everybody that's going to listen to this.
Mm.
Those are all potentials, and that all affects the totality of the co-creation that we're doing here, which the light language will absolutely reflect.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so
So
much.
Um, if anybody wants to get hold of me, then head over to newera.org.uk.
Mhm.
As I've said before, the site is still under construction, so there's nothing on there, but
But
there is a
there's a
link there
link
if
to
you'd
book
like a
you.
private session.
There's a
Yeah.
link to book you, and it's absolutely worthwhile. And then you'll also be in our community, and some of your offerings will be there at ALifeDesigned.org. So we'll end this here and more in the future.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, thanks for listening, everybody, and I hope you got something amazing from that, and we'll see you next time.